Hi everyone, we are here to talk about the SIXES today. This is exercise 6 in the syllabus, and this is the first exercise from the level 2 program. So what is it? It's 6 leg exercises that you need to understand and be comfortable with in order to have a reasonable chance of getting through level 2 with some confidence, with some level of skill. If you struggle with the 6 SIXES, you're going to find that the entire of level 2 is going to be compromised. And if you arrive at level 3, which is when we start teaching sparring, and you don't have the ability to support your body weight on one leg for however long it takes for your opponent to give you an indication of which direction you need to move in, you're always going to be the person who's taking the bait, because you can't wait. You can't hold your ground. You can't just be patient because your physical structure can't support you. Obviously, that's one perspective, is having the ability to hold and just be patient and be still. That requires strength, not just willpower. So you need to have the 6 SIXES in place. The other thing is it's teaching you how to articulate the weight in your feet. It's no good you just clump around on feet without really paying attention to the fact that they are as articulate as your hands, right? So your hands can do incredible things. And you'll believe me when I say your feet have one bone less than your hands. They're incredible, but you normally just put this plank on the base of your foot since you were 2 years old, and you just walk around just clumping about like this for your entire life until someone teaches you that the foot is as carefully placed on the earth. It's as if you're walking on your own back, and you have to show that love to the ground in order for the ground to want to show that love to your feet, right? And it's really that simple. And trust me, if you happen to fall over, if you have a good relationship with the planet Earth, she might look after you, right? So from here, 6 SIXES. I'm going to face the front and I'll turn showing each one. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to step out lightly, and I'm shifting the weight across, I'm settling, and at this point the weight is exclusive to the ball of the foot that I'm standing on. Yeah? You can see, even though I've got one foot out in front, I'm still vertically lifting from the top, sinking from the base, and breathing exclusively down into the belly, which is a lot easier when I don't have to talk, right? From here, place the heel, lift the knee, place the ball of the foot, lift the knee, place the heel, lift the knee, place the ball of the foot from the front. I'm not moving the foot left or right, it's just stepping out a fraction and just changing. And you can see really what I'm doing is I'm moving from the hip. I'm moving from the hip. I'm lifting the knee from the hip, and I'm using the foot as an excuse to make sure that I'm actually getting that leg to move correctly. All right, so that's the first one. What do we call it? We just call it foot changes, toe changes, heel and toe. Right. The next one, even simpler. Again, you have to get your foundations. If you don't have a decent mother stance, then I have no idea how I'm supposed to impart single weighted postures to a person who hasn't studied the double weighted mother stance, which is designed to give you a strategy for approaching the one-legged stuff. So from here, you should be totally comfortable with the head lifting and the bum sinking, straightening the spine, and thus allowing you to breathe. And as soon as you start on that process, it becomes a lot easier to maintain the balance, because if your head's lifting and your bum is sinking, it's not possible to fall. It's not. You have to have your head dropping and your bum lifting in order to take a tumble, right? So from here, head up, bum down, breathe to the belly, and now the knee comes up. How high? It comes up to the height of my waist. 2, 3, 4, and yes, this is from here. If we had the Sabres, we could deliver the high guard at the same time as we do these knee raises. Where is the weight? The weight is exclusive to the ball of my heavy foot. The empty foot doesn't even touch the floor. Is the hip coming up? No. Head's coming up. The hips are sinking equally. If I put my hands on my hips, you can see there's no belly dancing. It's just the knee coming up clean. The bum is sinking on the same side as the knee is lifting. That is number 2. So number 3, and what is the function of number 2? You can see it's quite clear that you need to be able to deliver a knee without following into whatever it is the target is. You need to have this foundation, but it might be that you need to extend beyond the knee. And that again, 1, 2, back and down. And you're electing at each stage in this journey whether or not to follow on, right? So if I need to follow on and bring it through, that is the forward archery, the lunge. Pam, pam, from here, lunge out. Easy peasy. If you can deliver the first parts, 1, 2, and there is the next exercise. So from here, again, hands on the hips, lift the head, sink the bum, breathe to the belly. I will permit the back foot to rotate out just a few degrees. Up to 45 is acceptable. More than that is a big no-no. If you can keep it down to 30, even less. Parallel is perfect, but I've yet to meet a perfect human being who can do it. So from here, pick up the knee, exactly the same as in exercise 2, and then from here just extend the toe out. How far? Until the leg is almost straight. How many? 10, 20, 30, yeah? From the other side here, I settle down, lift the head, sink the bum, breathe to the belly, raise the knee, extend the toes and back. Extend the toes and back. And you're going to see people doing this. It's rubbish, right? It's no use to us whatsoever. I want you to imagine there's a little butterfly and she's asleep on your toe. And I want you to just gently reach out and convince her to cry off and walk across onto something safer. 2, 3, lots of butterflies at spring. Yeah. 4, 5, it's soft. Up, down, breathe to the belly. Where does that leave us? 4, exercise 4. So what have we talked about so far? If we chain these together in a sequence, you've got the knee, followed by the toe, and then we're going to smash, right? Knee, kick, heel. Follow it through from the heel to get into that forward archery again. So you can see, in essence, the 6 sixes are teaching you the individual components that form an advancing step. In essence, this is how to get that foot out and put it down without doing this. Because that's not going to help you. If the floor is slippery, you've killed yourself before your opponent even touched you. Right? So you have to have that control. And where does it come from? Am I landing in the heel? Well, the heel doesn't bear weight, does it? It's got to go direct into the ball of the foot. And we're going to check that it's safe by going heel, ball of foot, and pressing through. So here we go, right? The heel kick sets you up for making that journey. Knee, bring the toes back and extend from the heel. like you're going to kick a big door open whilst you're carrying breakfast for someone you love. From here. Knee, toes back, heel kick. Other side. From here. Again, head up, bum down, bring the knee up, draw the toes back, and I'm executing the heel kick thus. And you can see, if this is a struggle, and it will be a struggle, it's enough to do it low. Trust me, you stamp like this on somebody's, the arch of their foot, they're not going to be chasing you for a while. Pam, you hit the knee, pam. It's not a high kick. I'm not going to punch you in the foot, so I'm not really even attempting to kick you in the face. If you happen to put your face near my foot, I might change my mind, right? But otherwise, kicks for the lower body and strikes for the upper body. So from here, knee up, toes back, heel kick, and it's pedaling, which is why we sometimes refer to these as the pedal kicks. Out, down, knee, toes back, press and down. Lovely, right? Really classic, basic Kung Fu training. You got to get it right. You got to get it right. You can't bluff it. Yeah, we can spot it from 40 foot across a hall. If you're wibbling and wobbling about on your feet, then it means one thing, which means you've basically been sitting on the couch eating chips, not training for the entire week. Because it only takes 6 weeks to learn to do this. Right? It's not hard. It's actually part of your DNA to activate these systems within your body, because you've got eyes on the front of your head because you're a killer. Right? So learn to be a human being. This is how human being legs work, despite what you might want them to be. Right? This is how they actually function. Now, lotus kicks. I love lotus kicks because they're super sexy, and every child in the room will shut up and pay attention the moment you get it right. The spirit of Uncle Pat, right? So lotus kicks are great. They're not really kicks. The most practical application of it is actually the sweep part. Down they go, right? You're going to learn to do this because it's also the evasion of the front leg. So if somebody cuts at my leg from here, the ability to lift it up and get over the top. Yeah, if I choose to then deliver that as a kick, and you notice that was a twist on the ball of my back foot, I had to break my root to deliver that. I would prefer to do without having to break the root. That's better, it's stronger. But in an emergency, I can, and all of this is taught through the single act of doing the lotus kick. So from here, I'm going to take one foot, again, head up, bum down, breathe to the belly. Balanced in the ball of my heavy foot, empty foot comes out, and I'm going to step across, and the knee is going to make a circle thus. Right, so the knee is going to lift up, over, open from the hip out to the lateral, to the flank, touch down, and then I'm going to draw this crescent with my empty foot. The heel doesn't touch, just the toes, out and over and down. I'm just going to draw that back across, up and over. I'm going to change to the side again. So I'm stepping out. Now if I had the saber here, it would be pointing directly. In the unarmed, I can do this facing forwards, but for the sake of our LED saber program, it makes more sense if we look over our shoulder here as we do this kick. So here I am. I'm going to pick up the knee, and I'm opening from the hip. Notice I cannot lift that hip. The hip still has to sink, even though the knee comes up. And then from here, I open out, place the foot, and then without shifting anything else in the structure, I just come across, and there she blows. And if I needed to, that would be all the way out to the height of the hand. which moves nicely into the last ones. Now these are slightly different. We've been working so far on the leverage, the levers of the body. This is a lever here where it's a linear action. The muscle contracts, the knee comes out. The muscle contracts, the heel comes out. Yeah. Even with the knee coming up, it's just a selection of contractions. They're all linear and they're all levers. But nature loves spirals. And when you look closely at our cousins on this planet and you study how they move, you'll discover that spirals are integrated into the thinking of so many predators. And a punch is not just linear like this, it rotates as well. As soon as you've got a rotational component plus a linear component, you've got a helix. I love this stuff so much. You've got no idea. I don't sleep for days sitting there going, DNA is a helix. So these are the rotations. Here we are. Ball of the foot again. The empty foot is empty, right? It's not doing anything. I'm going to do these facing you direct. Head up, drop the bum. Breathe to the belly. Balanced exclusively in the ball of the heavy foot. This is an empty foot, and the heel on that heavy foot is not empty, but it's not carrying the weight. It's simply assisting me in the task of remaining balanced. And now with my hands on my hips, and I'm going to point my fingers dead ahead because my shoulders and my hips have to be aligned here. And this is going to happen thus. And you'll notice that my front toe remains connected to the camera. I'm not letting my foot do this because that's creating a distortion in my other knee. I need to keep this toe direct ahead whilst maintaining the foot as being empty. And this is the 6th of the 6 exercises in exercise 6. There we are. Okay. And you'll notice that when we're doing the wielding exercises in level 1, it's basically this rotation, keeping the shoulders and the hips aligned whilst you rotate around the midline of your body. Right? And all we're doing now is you have to conduct exactly the same exercise. It's an experiment on how your body works, and when you get enough data you'll be able to develop technology, right? So you've got to do the exercises. Lift it, sink it, and now this front foot's empty and I have to rotate from the center with the shoulders and the hips absolutely integrated and lined up together, so that I don't create any tension around the middle of my torso, which will impact on my breathing. If it impacts on my breathing, I'm going to lose a little bit of the light between my ears, and my IQ is going to drop, my stamina is going to drop, my immunity is going to drop, and this is critical, you guys. You know where we are right now. It's spring 2020, the world is in lockdown, people need ventilators. Learn to breathe. Learn to breathe now, because if you need to go for help, this might buy you a few extra hours whilst you're waiting for a space, okay? So just don't be dumb. Think about what we're teaching and try and integrate it. Again, this stuff is free. Yeah, there's my rotation. Hips and shoulders together. Thus, I can breathe freely through the process, which means I am not impaired in the action I'm delivering through my arms just because I happen to be rotating through the waist, right? All of these skills, it's like you're picking up bits of Lego. I'm not telling you what to build with them. I'm simply saying that needs to be a square piece, that needs to be a triangular piece, they fit together like this. Go and make something beautiful, okay? 6 sixes. Hope you enjoyed.